Uzara. Fantastic. Good afternoon, everyone. Or good morning to those of you who are across the pond in the US and in Canada. My name's Andrew Etherington. I'm the CEO of P3MO, and today we'll talk about how we're supporting our clients in the retail sector and delivering a lot of that large scale digitization and transformation that they're doing, which is a huge focus in the industry at the moment. Throughout the course of the next 30 minutes, you will see 4 questions pop up. Um, really value your input in that. It's quick multiple choice, so that would be appreciated if you'd be okay to engage. We also have the ability for you to ask questions. We have also had questions being submitted in advance, so thank you to those of you who have. So please feel free, pop them in the chat. We will leave 10 minutes roughly towards the end of the session to go through them in turn. Now, if I just share the screen. Super. Perfect. Right. So what you see in front of you is the P3MO platform. And within it, you can see there's a series of modules. Each of these modules, I'm sure this terminology, for those of you, that are on the call, given your backgrounds, I don't think it will necessarily be unfamiliar terminology to you. Um, Planning, CapEx, retail partners, resourcing and resource management is a big focus area at the moment. And we'll also talk you through our project intake functionality. So essentially, um, pipeline management as well, whether that be from a business case standpoint or, approval process, things like that. Now, everything in the platform is fully configurable. So whether that is the text, the colors, the metrics, all of that can be very easily edited as well. And that will change the labels, the colors, and the metrics, as I said. Now, what that actually means is you're able to configure the platform across multiple different business units or different layers of the organization or between portfolio, program, and project level. But you can then roll that up into a consistent standardized output at the top level. So this is about how can you have one solution which can cater for the various different use cases, methods, frameworks. If it's agile versus waterfall, then you can do that too. Data can also be input the platform through integrations, of course, or it can be directly added in the platform used standalone. We tend to find most of our retail clients. There is a bit of a mix, some integrations, but a lot of them tend to launch initially as standalone and use the platform in isolation before then moving into any integrations. So everything, as you can see here, is your layout. We have an omni-channel growth portfolio of which we have 7 initiatives. These are broken down into various themes, store refresh and ops, then into, different formats, if it's convenience stores, for example. And then what you'll see is you've got your 7 initiatives or 7 projects, as some may call it, down the bottom. And you can see a quick summary of each of these and their performance. Now, if you imagine that those 7 projects were actually 70, or in some cases, some of our large retail clients, 700 projects. So you want to be able to filter, you want to be able to drill down very quickly. And the whole concept is, how do you get in the platform, get what you need and get out and on with the job, so to speak. The platform should be aiding you in the governance, the control and the visibility. It shouldn't be hindering you in the ability to essentially move the needle. So you then say, let me see the two that are amber. And actually, in this case, I just want to know rapid delivery because that's at risk. It's in the rollout phase, and it's actually EPOS in the Payment Resilience Project, and that's been ran by Lauren. So within those 2 clicks, I'm down into the detail that I require. Now with the 3rd click, I can go down into even more granularity. And this is where not only can you explore the issue if you're maybe a stakeholder or a head of or a director, but you can also then update if you're on the front line. You can start to say and type in various updates as you see fit. And of course, you save it, or as what I'll do in this case, I'll just reset that back to default. But everything here is editable, can be configured. So if you don't use them, it's very easy to change. You can start to run that update as well. Now we do have another few parts, links to documents. Now people will argue no system's ever perfect. I certainly agree. I wish P3MO platform done 100% of everyone's problem, but it doesn't necessarily. So in the nature of what delivering projects, strategic initiatives, you usually have supporting documentation. The problem is that documentation tends to be scattered across various SharePoint sites, OneDrives, in the old school days, it used to be filing cabinets. Becomes very, very cumbersome, very complex, very time consuming to find. So this is about how do you get a centralized space where you can link various elements in and spool out to them as you need them. And we're finding that's quite a valuable feature that more often than not our customers are sort of commenting on. Of course, you can add stakeholders. Those stakeholders you can add external to the platform as well, and you can run through any of that too. We will touch on resourcing on the working team. You can do load and capacity in terms of who's at capacity, who is overworked or overloaded, overallocated. And of course, you can start to do key actions. Now, these actions are not to be mistaken for a plan. This is about tactical actions, not planned activities. So if we then go into, let's say, the plan in this case, and you'll also realize and see that there's multiple tabs up here. So this is the one area where everyone can come, or those who are leading the projects can come to update. You do not have to go to other parts of the system to do certain updates like you do in a lot of them. You can just flick between each of these tabs. Now, the planning Gantt charts are fantastic. And okay, you can do Gantt charts. You can start to build a plan quite quickly. And you certainly can do critical path. And it will warn you where things go wrong. So you're able to kind of very quickly move things about. And as demonstrated, if you take this past the date, it will highlight to you that there is a constraint, as the system calls it, and therefore if you expand the activity will take longer and the overall work stream level will extend to suit. We've then got a series of, in this configuration, and remember it can be changed, objectives, deliveries. You can then go into commercial outcomes as well. And what you will notice of all of these is they are the same look and feel. So this is about how do you learn it once, and you don't have to learn the feature or the functionality of the system again. You can just focus on what's the content and what's the information I want to put in it And that's the key thing. So it's very easy to update. It's also got the ability for you to have a version history on an audit trail. So if you do want to see when it was last updated and what happened and who changed it and what was said, then you can go back in that history to previous versions as well. So that's kind of for those of you that are heavily audited, which most of you no doubt will be. That's kind of key feature that we're seeing a lot of use on. And that's also backed up by your audit functionality here in your various versions. It can be sort of outlined. Now, if I come back and let me change hats and go from, away from the front line and the coalface and go into, well, I'm a stakeholder, I'm, in the PMO, or I'm, a director or a head of, and I'm accountable for it, you're not really interested in the detail. And in this case, I'll focus on risk. So you'd go across to the module view and you'd understand, here's all of your risks. Now, these risks are a big list, because again, it's across all 7 projects. But you can see it's a prettier list, but it's still a list. You do not want to have to go through the detail of every single one, as quick as that may seem, as I'm doing in front of you. Really, all you want to be able to do is, well, show me the risks and show me the, let's say, 6 that have high impact. So now, within 3 clicks, module risk, module high impact, you're able to see very quickly they're the 6 I want to focus on. And that goes the same for, partners and suppliers. If you want to see everything that loop vend systems on, if you want to see what suppliers are active, you can see there around SwiftBank is supporting 2 projects in this case. So it lets you see that too. Now, a couple of things I'll mention is we do also have our project intake, and that's really around that pipeline activity. So essentially, anyone across the business, and this doesn't need a license to use the intake. Anyone across the business can submit a request of some sort. Now, this is all fully configurable. It can be dragged around. Elements of these are linked to the system itself. So when you then complete a submission and that goes through, you can then automatically, once approved, flow that into the main system and assign an owner. So you're not having to, maybe as some of you do today, have it on a Word document, transpose it into a PowerPoint for a business case review, and then so on and so forth on more PowerPoint or Excel. So that lets you see how that operates. Now, everyone loves the idea of having a big team, but actually you want to make sure that that team is well resourced, is allocated appropriately, and that we can tell and help manage and for sure to support people like Laura in this case, who is over allocated. So Laura's over allocated. She's only due to be on 0.6. She's actually on 0.7. So instead of 60% of her time, she's spending 70% is the way to look at it. She's spending that on an on-shelf availability reset. So it lets you see you can drill down into that detail. Now, whilst the system's great and you can view it live and that's absolutely fantastic, 9 times out of 10 you still want reports, and you want those reports to maybe be in PDF or be in PowerPoint. It's 2 most common we see. So you can start to create reports, and the way in which you create these reports is it's all automated and it's extremely flexible. So here we have a series of widgets, call it that, or presets. And each of these can be dragged in or they can be single click, pop in like so. So it's just a regular PowerPoint basically. It can be dragged to suit, formatted to suit, and then you'll see this plan is on rapid delivery coverage expansion. I wanted to change it, on shelf availability reset, take that rapid delivery off. I've then got a new and revised plan. And that's the same if you want to delete that and you want to rename it, you can then start to save it as presets. That fits over here, so it's a pre-templated one you've done. Or you can start to then look at, well, I want to automate the sending of this. So I want every Friday at 9 a.m., I would like that report to publish in the app and to email. So you can start to then look at that and go through that together. That then concludes the demonstration for today. We do have a number of questions that have popped in. So let me just take that in turn. So we have retail. Super. So this is from Janine. Our biggest constraint is peak trading. We freeze change from November. Does P3MO help us plan and sequence initiatives around those windows? Um, yes, absolutely. So if I kind of take you into the planning side, actually. So what you can do in the plan is you can have obviously your windows, right? So you might say, well, I have a set window within X, and you can start to then block that out. Now, when you then do that, not bother with that, you can extend those windows, you can drag those windows as well too. But what you can then do, as I showed earlier, is you can start to then model those windows. So you might be saying, right, let's run couple of work streams. You're then saying, well, actually, I'm now going to model what the knock-on impact is of this window. So if I went out and I said, okay, this here slips, I can then start to do, oh, well, what's the knock-on impact of that? It's a day-by-day slip. If it slips to start the 23rd of July, there's my latest. If you've got all those dependencies mapped out, it will move the whole plan. So allows you to see that as well. So let's see. Uh, yeah. Yep. So our teams move fast and won't adopt anything clunky. What does day-to-day updating actually look like for a busy program manager? And this is from Paul. So thank you, Paul. Super. So if we go to that updating and day in the life of, come back and you log in, you go to your home page. Now you can configure your home page to set at a certain filter so that you would maybe only land on the projects that you're responsible for. So at that, when you come in, let's say you're only responsible for store refresh. So let's say store refresh and you're running with these two. You'd come in, you'd have those projects. So you'd say, well, I'm going into store refresh wave, and actually I need to update my status. So the store approval is no store format is now approved, and you then change that status, say green. You can add team members, or you might say, well, Sarah Williams, actually, Sarah isn't assigned FTE, full-time equivalent, 0.7, 0.8, she's going to be 0.7 now. So you start to then update that, and that's now 0.7. If you were then changing the plan items, planning is great and the Gantt chart's great, but I like to set it to default on the table. So if you said, well, store refresh front, I actually want that on track, at risk, and I want that to stay in store, and it's a task or it's an activity. So you can start to then update that very, very easily. It's all quick and simple, and it lets you then see how you could do those updates very quick. If I then let's see if we've got another one. We've got a little bit of time. Let's see. A lot of reporting is stitched together in Excel and slides every month. What does moving off of that involve? Okay, so this comes down to our implementation approach actually. So the platform is implementation wise can be anything between 2 to 4 weeks on average, depending on complexity and scale, of course, you know. The larger the scale, we then work with you when it comes to training and adoption. But as part of that implementation process, we will then migrate all of your existing data. So if you do have data on Excel or Word or PowerPoint, we can take that and we can migrate it into the system. Once it's then in the system, we can then create, as you can see, you know, various elements of reports. And you can have charts, you could have, you know, multiple slides, packs, headers. You can do all of that really. And that's how we would migrate. So you wouldn't have to put all of the data in the system. Um, we would do that for you as part of that implementation, so that it's more of a sort of turnkey solution where you've kind of got everything up to speed behind the scenes before you flick the switch, really. So let's see. Got room for two more. Okay, the board wants a simple read. Uh, this is from Alicia. The board wants a simple read on whether transformation is on track. Can they get that without learning a tool? Yes, they can. That's where things like, if they weren't in the platform at all, Um, that's where things like setting a drumbeat and starting to understand, you know, who you want to receive that drumbeat, and the layout. That's where the report builder really comes into its own, because you can start to lay out within that what what charts, what metrics you want to see, and then the report builder will do it all for you. That being said, the platform is, we get told, very easy to operate. And actually, if you really want to, you could move this table up to the top, but here you get a very quick flash of performance and what's going wrong. So, you know, if you were in, let's say, loss prevention, you'd be saying, oh, I'm not interested in the greens. I really want to look at the reds. What is that? It's in launch control. It's back of house handling, reset. So you're able to then very quickly do that as well. And uh, let's see, we got quite a few here. Margins are tight. So yeah, so this is from Douglas. Margins are tight. Can I see which initiatives are slipping or overspending before they hit the P&L? So absolutely. So within the budget functionality, or in this case, we've got it configured as CapEx and OpEx, you can have various levels of your baselines and your forecasts and your actuals, or you can start to create various charts that you might want. Those charts can go on various elements that you may like to see. And that's all very simple to do, but you can do a lot of automation in that as well. How you would then manage them, if I click into college change readiness and DRS budget, is that budget you can have various instances. In those instances, you can track, your baseline, your forecast, your actual. Are we on track? Is it a forecast? Is it committed? And that's where we'd then be reconfiguring this towards you then doing that forecast management as well. So that we're almost at time. So that concludes the demonstration, and hopefully that's been helpful for you all. If you do want to know any more information, if you are maybe wanting to have a conversation around any specific use cases, please do reach out. You can find us hello@p3mo.io. And yeah, thanks very much for taking the time, and have a lovely day, lovely morning, and lovely afternoon all.